ducky, and her ducklings always seeking justice and truth. This ducky won't be silenced by the haters, seeking out the facts while providing the receipts. She is loud with her opinions in this cruel world of villains. This ducky will talk, give her sass, while still keeping her class. So join in the pond with the ducklings from all over the place.
Welcome back to The Loud Little Ducky. We are going to kind of give a summary of what happened the last 2 days in the Owens v. Marraccini DVRO renewal. I did not go, but as many of you know, Lauren Knighty was there, IT Goatee Brad, Megan Fox, Rosalind Duke, Omar Serrato, also known as Tilted Lawyer, being Mike Marraccini's attorney in this case. And we learned that IT Goatee Brad has been helping out behind the scenes. Rachel Juarez is also another attorney for Mike Marraccini. She was not able to come to this due to her being sick. But, you know, and Rachel Juarez she has done interviews and stuff with Reality Steve, and she did a debate with David Gingras. So all of those people that I mentioned, most of them have channels that you can go subscribe to. There were other people there reporting. I believe somebody had stated maybe somebody from Mercury was there and some other journalist type people, but the one that we really care about is Megan Fox, of course, who's been on this since the beginning. Dave Neal was not there. For this one, he had other plans that he had to deal with, but all those people were there. Steve, who has appeared on Lauren's channel, was there as well. So many people supporting Mike there, which is great. That is something that we want. But let's get into what went down. Before we do that, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, and comment down below what your thoughts are. So, the first day, we find out when everybody goes into the courtroom, they go in there. Clayton Eckerd was there as well. I don't think Greg was there. Maybe he was going to do via Zoom or something. But they go in, and then there's this screen that's kind of like near the judge, and Laura is on it, Gingras is on it, and this lady that nobody knew who she was. That other person was nurse practitioner Colleen Green, even though she considers herself a doctor of nursing, and she calls herself a doctor, which to me is misleading. Usually nurse practitioners work under a doctor, and while they can do a lot of things, it usually has to be signed off by an actual doctor. So I don't know if she's running a solo practice or what, but there seems to be some maybe ethical issues there. But they go in. Laura Owens, of course, is not in person. And while it was reported by Steve that the previous hearing that happened on October 10th, Laura Owens was told that the parties needed to be there in person. She was ordering them to be there in person. But what happened is when the court clerk or whoever wrote the mini minutes that they were strongly suggested to be there in person, is what the minutes said. And so that was an error on the clerk. Things happen, but and I thought, okay, well, she's going to use this and say it was just strongly suggested that I be there, but I couldn't be there. And so she wasn't going to go. So she did do that. She twisted it. But if a judge tells you something, you better do it. And if you're unsure because the written thing and what the judge told you are different, you might want to call the court and clarify. So Laura doesn't show up. And Laura is wanting to ask for her continuance, talk about her health issues. The judge told her, that was not before her. She doesn't even have any of that. She's not hearing that. And the nurse practitioner was like, I don't know how long this is going to be, but like, I have patience. Like, ma'am, you do not know what you signed up for. You may think that you're doing your Laura a favor, but her favors, anything that's connected to Laura is not good. And Green might learn that. Um, I would like to know how Laura found this doctor. Is it a friend of the family? Um, or what? But and so this doctor, I guess, was gonna be there to talk about why Laura needed a continuance and say, "Yes, I did write the exhibit A that we don't have access to." So, um, but the judge was like, "No, I'm not hearing that." Omar piped in and said, "Judge, that is not a doctor. She is a nurse practitioner." The judge was like, "I don't care. I'm not hearing anything on that." She asked Laura, "Why are you not here?" And um, so Judge Carolyn Gold denied Laura's continuance, and she also ordered Laura to be in court tomorrow, which was yesterday, Wednesday, or file a dismissal, and the court will not entertain a continuance. So Laura was supposed to be there on Wednesday. She was told this on Tuesday. You need to be here tomorrow, and you need to be in attendance in person. And Laura said, "Well, I will work very hard to be there." No. What Laura did instead of working hard to be there in person is go right to the chief judge. Um, which we'll get to in just a second. Also, the judge asked Gingras if he was substituting into the case. Gingras said no. He claimed that he was only present as a witness. And, but the judge did say, okay, you know, witnesses will be like excluded from the court. Like the witnesses are not allowed to hear what other people are saying. So he will not be able to be on Zoom or in a courtroom um, until he testifies. But good, Gingras is not trying to enter this case crazily. So props to him keeping his word on that as for now. And, we never saw Laura do a travel request for the Arizona criminal court because she has to ask for permission to leave the state. She needs her permission slip signed. She didn't do that. Now she has another 2 weeks to get her permission slip signed because the next day, Laura no-showed in person again. And it would have been nice if the judge just dismissed it and things like that. But what happened was let me get to it. Where is it? Okay. So everybody goes back to the court the next day on Wednesday. And we get told that Owens had an in-camera meeting with the judge without Mike's counsel, and the judge granted her a continuance to November 5th. So she had an ex parte meeting because it was about her health stuff, which Omar and Mike are not even allowed to know about, which sucks because nobody can actually, it's not going to become evidence in this case for the renewal, but it sucks because nobody is going to be able to find out if this is real stuff that she's doing or if it's fake. Because we know she likes to do arts and crafts on medical documents. But that's what she was doing. Instead of working hard to be there for this day, she worked at messaging the chief judge, which is basically Carolyn Gold's boss, and put in an application for the American with Disabilities Act. That has to be done like 5 to 7 days prior. And we don't know under what circumstance she is using the American with Disabilities Act. Is she using her autism? And or is she just using that she supposedly is bleeding or not bleeding? Well, she did say bleeding, vomiting up blood, has these whatever. Did she go to her consultation yesterday that she had? Is she going to go have tests done? Is that going to interfere with the next court date? And if we're waiting on her psyche to be at a level that she can um, participate in her case. Well, that day is never coming because her psyche is never going to be fixed. But we don't know the basis other than that it is an ADA, American with Disabilities Act accommodation. So this is more delay. It costs more money. It wasted people's money. It got rid of the majority of the support in person for Mike, which some people might be able to go back, some might not be able to, and more trauma for Mike and his family because it was supposed to be ending yesterday. Instead, there's 2 weeks of dealing with this, and the trial is now only going to be 1 day. Omar said he's going to try to fit everything in because they only can stick to 2020 to 2025 and not bring in past stuff. He should be able to streamline it into 1 day. It also means the continuance we want to take away, as it sucks and it's disappointing, and we knew, Laura was going to pull this bullshit, but the judge's hands were tied. She does not want Laura to be able to appeal this decision that the judge makes on a technicality and get it reversed or win or something. So, by the judge allowing this continuance, it shows that they have made an effort to help her and get things figured out. We think it's for different reasons, but the judge can say, I gave you a continuance. I gave you 2 extra weeks to get your shit together and do what you needed to do, have your health appointment that you needed, and then we'll deal with this. Now, do we think she's going to try to do some more shenanigans and not go on November 5th? Yeah, probably. Is she going to get approved for the um, American Disabilities Act? Is she going to be considered disabled in this case now? And depending on what it's with, is she going to try to use that as a way to appear virtually, which I do not like. Omar could have waived and just let her had her day in court and let her appear on Zoom. I don't know if the judge would have granted that or what, but he could have just allowed her to just be on Zoom. But we don't trust Owens virtually and electronically. We just don't. And so, oh, we do have those. Okay, hold on. Let's bring this up and see. Let's share screen. So these are the minutes from day 1. So Tuesday, October 21st, the Honorable Judge Carolyn Gold. There was no court reporter on this day too, which was another problem. I gotta quit saying and there were bailiffs there. The nature of the cause was a notice of hearing to renew a restraining order filed by Laura Owens. She wants this restraining order. She's so scared and she's so in fear for her life, but she wants to continue it while there's no, like, it's just ridiculous. Said All remote appearances are conducted through Zoom, a video platform in accordance with San Francisco local rules of court, Rule 11.7D4. Petitioner present by video on Zoom in pro per. Omar Serrato, present in court with respondent Mike Marraccini. Matters on the calendar for petitioner: request to renew a restraining order against respondent. The court notified the parties that there is no court reporter available for today's proceeding and that we are not sure if court reporter will be available for tomorrow's trial. Respondent waived the court reporter. So Mike was like, it's okay, we don't need a court reporter. Petitioner inquired about the options. Yeah, because anything that will possibly delay it, because she would have chosen the option, no, I'm not waiving no court reporter. Like, I want a court reporter. And there should be a court reporter. I want a court reporter because that means there's going to be transcripts. The court admonished petitioner, Laura Owens, that she was previously ordered to be present in person for today's trial. Petitioner stated that she filed an expedited motion for a continuance and stated that it would be life-threatening for her to travel. Yeah, that's what she stated, even though she was over there like 2 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago for leisurely travel, and that wasn't life-threatening. And that was based off the same August lab reports. The court notes that her motion is improper and not before the court today and for the court to consider. The court explained the ex parte process to shorten time for a motion to continue trial. Having no court reporter, the court continues matters tomorrow, October 22nd, 2025. Court reiterated prior order and ordered both parties are ordered present and in person tomorrow. The court stated the petitioner has the option to appear tomorrow in person and proceed with the trial or to dismiss her request. So you either get your butt to San Francisco or we're dismissing this case. The court notes that this court will not extend or continue requests to renew restraining order with an indefinite period. Yeah, it's which means you must have a date to continue. Court confirmed appearances of people on Zoom, attorney David Gingras, and petitioner's treating nurse practitioner, Colleen. Notice the judge did not put doctor there. The court will set additional trial date tomorrow if needed. Matter not reported. So this was originally going to be 2 days. So with this Tuesday date being kind of null and void, and then it was going to be Wednesday, and if they still needed 2 days, they could have Wednesday, and then if they needed to, they could schedule another day for the second day sometime in the future. But, a lot of this doesn't even matter. Now, the thing is that the judge told her, be here in person or dismiss. And then because Laura pulled these shenanigans, the judge had to kind of go back on that. Because and if she tries to pull the autism thing as her Disabilities Act, that's gonna be really shitty because she never mentioned to the judge or anybody in any of these filings anything to do with her autism. So if she tries to say that the judge was not accommodating her autism that she supposedly has, that's a lie because nobody knows medically that she has autism. We have her saying she does, but that's it. Colleen might be the person who diagnosed her with that. I'd want a doctor's confirmation just to back up the nurse practitioner's thing. So, and if she was to dismiss this, I the thing is this might be a case where if she dismisses it, then Laura would have to get a completely new DVRO. She would have to go for the temporary one and then go through all the steps. Everything would start over. And to me, Laura does not have enough to get a restraining order like she did back then. And it's going to be fought. But so if she dismisses it, she might automatically have to do that because it will have lapsed now. Because this renewal was filed like a day before it lapsed or on the day it lapsed. So it's still within the time frame. But if this is dismissed, then this part of it is over and she's past the time frame where she can ask for a renewal. But a lot of times things like this are also, and so if that was the case, I could see a judge saying dismissed with prejudice, meaning you can't file based on these facts again for a renewal request. But the likelihood of it being dismissed with prejudice is not likely because they do not want to say that Laura can't file for a restraining order on things if it's a legitimate thing and then just timing wasn't correct. This is for regular people. But sadly, it would work for people that are using the system. And we don't want to tell people that they can't refile. And even if it was dismissed with prejudice, saying that she can't file it again on these facts, that would not stop Laura from being able to file something else in regards to a restraining order based on other facts. So it doesn't just stop her from ever getting a restraining order against Mike again. I don't think she has enough to do it. I don't even think she has enough for a renewal, let alone starting a new thing. And she doesn't have extra facts. She doesn't have other facts to present that would even be worthy. Because these facts that she's trying it on aren't even worthy. All right, let's go to the next day and look at the mini minutes. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, goodness. No. Okay, we'll just do it like that. Mhm. Okay. And sorry, I'm trying to kind of rush through this and because I'm not really feeling that great. Um, dealing with some health stuff um, the past couple of days. All right. So these are the minutes for the next day. Why does this one say Tuesday? Okay, this is supposed to say Wednesday. Um, but it says Tuesday, but it was October 22nd. So the date's right, it's just the day of the week is not. All right. They did have a court reporter on this day. Judge Gold was there. They had deputies there. So it says nature of cause, notice of hearing to renew restraining order filed by Laura Owens and petitioner's request for accommodations. All remote appearances are conducted through Zoom via video platform in accordance with San Francisco local rules of court, Rule 11.7D4. Petitioner present by video on Zoom in pro per. pro se, whatever, by herself. She has no lawyer. Before the trial, the court held an in camera hearing regarding petitioner's request for accommodations. The court acknowledged receipt of email on 10/21/2025 regarding petitioner's request. So she emailed the court. The court notes that request is improper and untimely. However, the court exercised her discretion to hear the request in camera, not reported, and other party and public were excluded. So nobody was in the courtroom. Not Omar, not Mike, nobody. After hearing the petitioner, the court allowed respondent and counsel in the courtroom, and this part of the proceeding was reported. So it was basically off record, the previous stuff. And no, Laura didn't do anything right, but in abundance of caution, the judge allowed this stuff so that if she tries to pull anything else, they gave her time. They tried to deal with her. They gave her accommodations. And so she's not going to be able to claim this stuff again. Having reviewed and considered petitioner's statement and request based on reasonable accommodation requests, the court grants a brief continuance of the trial. This matter is continued to November 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. and it's going to go until 4:30 p.m. in the department, and then the courtroom will be determined. The court ordered petitioner to be in San Francisco and to be in the courthouse in person for the trial. Petitioner understood. So Laura knows. So there's no confusion. She's not only required to be in San Francisco, she is required to be in the courthouse and in person for her trial. So no weaseling out of it. It's stated clear in black and white, and this time it's reflected in the mini minutes. So she heard it verbally, and it's in black and white. So there's no misunderstanding. And she states that Owens understood this order. Both parties were ordered present. Court notes that continuance is based on reasonable request for accommodations and not a motion to continue trial that respondent can oppose. So Omar and Mike cannot even oppose the motion they cannot oppose this request for a continuance because it was a accommodation request based on the Disabilities Act thing, and that you need to treat Laura the same as everybody else, and you have to be accommodating to people's disabilities. Now, is she going to try to use her disability as a way not to go in person? She also now has 2 weeks to get her permission slip signed. So we should see within the next 2 weeks that she has submitted a document request for travel in the Arizona criminal case. Restraining order shall remain in effect until next week or till the next hearing on November 5th, 2025. So Mike is still under his restraining order, which means no contact, which Mike has no problem with because he doesn't contact Laura. The court shall prepare order to reschedule hearing to renew restraining order. The court will set additional trial date at the next hearing. And Omar said that he's going to try not to need an extra trial date, to just streamline it and get it all done on November 5th, 2025. So there's not going to be 2 days. Hopefully that can be done, but with Laura, you never know. And Gingers as well, because you know how they are. Um, and if you haven't seen, it's Omar's video. I'll find it and I'll put it in the description box. But if you have not seen Megan Fox and Omar do a mock version of a cross examination where Omar plays the lawyer and Megan Fox plays Laura, you should go watch that because it is so funny and it is so on point when you compare it to the June 10th, 2024 hearing in the Owens v. Eckerd case, and then how she would probably be with Omar now, who was not on the case then, in a cross examination. It is so on par. Megan Fox did so good at playing her. Um, so Omar has had a practice run against for Alora Owens. So how is that practice? He's prepared, right? He's prepared. Megan Fox has prepared him for this cross examination. So those are the mini minutes for the last couple of days. The silver linings of this, because we need to try to find the silver linings. Dave will probably be able to go now. So, yay for Dave. Hopefully, other people get to go as well. Also, Rachel Juarez will be able to attend because she should not be sick anymore. It also lessens the chance of appeal, of Laura getting this turned on appeal, saying the judge wasn't fair, she wasn't accommodating, she's just biased because this cult got a hold of her, um, and all that. So it makes Mike's case, unappealable, pretty much, unless some random weird thing happens. Unappealable. We'll have a court reporter there for sure if it has to be hired by all of us. I will also have Mike Marraccini's GoFundMe in the description box as well. Lots of people have done things. If we hit certain goals, it was up to 45,000 last I saw. Let's see what it's at now. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Okay. No, it was up to 40,000. That's right. Somebody was going to do something if it got up to 45,000. And then Lauren Knighty, if it gets to 50,000 by November 5th, she said she's going to get a tramp stamp and she's going to create polls and everything for y'all to help choose her tramp stamp. And I think that we can get to it by November 5th. So 2 weeks. 2 weeks we can raise this to 50,000 at least. So right now it is at 42,460,000. The original goal was, I believe, 30,000 or 25,000. And he reached his goal by the day. I believe Bruce helped it get to its goal. And then after court yesterday, Megan Fox was on her channel along with Rosalind Duke, and they raised over $16,000 with the help of you guys. And so that was really great. Y'all are always there for help. We are here for justice. That is what we are here for. So his GoFundMe will be in the description box if you can donate anytime between now and November 5th, even if that is afterward, because it is just going to pay the cost. And now, and getting a court reporter, if one has to be, if they have to pay for one, that's expensive. Paying for more filings, paying for the court hearing, and everything else that comes with it. It has expanded the cost. But this is what Laura does. She has done this in many cases. She pulls shenanigans when she is close to getting exposed. And she cannot handle it. But the thing is she can try to push and push and push and push things off, like she does with every case. Continuance, or try to drop it, or whatever, when she gets pushed into a corner. But the thing is she's not going to be able to stop this from happening. The train is going to keep going. I don't know if she will try this stuff in the criminal court, because she does have a lawyer in that case, and he seems to behave like a professional. And so, unless he gets fired or something by Laura because she's not getting her way, or he decides to get off the case or something, but we'll see. We're used to her shenanigans. We expect more to come up. She doesn't back down. That's for sure. But that is it for me today. I just wanted to bring the updates and the mini minutes to y'all on this channel, just so it is a part of everything. And anybody that ever goes and follows this case or the playlist ends up with the stories, the full stories on everything. I will see y'all next time. Bye.
Not pregnant at that time, and she lied